Welcome back to the Spector Creative channel, and if you're a first-time viewer or a long-time viewer, well, you've stumbled on a channel that talks about toys, and one of the toy lines I talk about a lot is Star Wars, because I collect Star Wars toys. I've never worked for Hasbro, but I have worked in the toy industry, and I hope my knowledge from doing that brings some insight. So, I've talked a lot about how I just collect original trilogy figures, and this week Hasbro revealed a whole bunch of new Star Wars figures, and very few of them were in the original trilogy, which means very few of them are going to make my must-have list. Of course, I may buy some that I think are personally cool, and it's great that characters that were once hard to find are now being reissued, even with new parts. So, yay for hard-to-find figures. And of course, it's great to see that The Mandalorian is now finally showing up sort of en masse in the line, because enough time has passed that the references that were revealed to Hasbro when we saw them for the first time when it aired, well, now enough time has passed that we're through the production cycle. But the one figure that really stood out to me was this guy. And if you don't recognize him, this is Figrin Dan of the Modal Nodes, the Cantina bar singers, or, well, I guess instrument players. He also showed up in The Mandalorian, I think, unless that was someone else from his species playing with Max Rebo there. No, that would be Book of Boba Fett. You know what I'm talking about, people. The point is, this character goes all the way back to the original film, and he's never had a vintage collection figure, but we have had a figure of the Cantina Band member, and that figure has gotten probably more reuse over years than almost anything else. It started off in '95, back when Power of the Force 2 first came out, as a mail-away figure for the Star Wars fan club. The figure came with one character, one baggie, one white box, and 5 different instruments. Why 5 instruments? Well, because in the Cantina there are multiple Cantina Band members all playing different weird space instruments, like the Omni box and the jizz horn or something like that. No, it is called that. I'm not making this up. So yes, so you can get all 5 instruments and assemble an entire Cantina Band if you want. In fact, you could get as many figures. They believe they sold them as a single and then as a set of 5. So if you wanted to supplement, you had to buy more singles. They were then re-released about 15 years later as a box set as part of the sort of commemorative tin collection, where the figures now had soft goods put over their original tooled body, and there was more paint application on the accessories. The same thing happened when they were then re-released for the 30th anniversary for Disney Parks as part of a special deluxe set where each figure came with a stand that played the music from their Cantina song thing. Yeah. But again, 5 figures. So it was cool to get an upgraded stand, and of course now the accessories just keep getting more and more deco, but it's still the same tool as the original 1995 figure, both the accessory and the figure, just now with soft goods on the as kind of like a robe. So we've had the same tool. And the Cantina Band members tend to always come like that, either as 5 or as 1. You either get Figrin Dan or you get the entire band. But the entire band is usually 5 figures. I don't know if this is because of price points or ignorance, but yeah, there's not. There's definitely not one. Ignorance isn't the right word. I should just say maybe not being as familiar with the source material. I mean, except for this one time when they did 6 members of the Cantina Band in the 12-inch style in 1996 that Hasbro put out. Well, yeah, there are 7 members. They all wore the same prosthetic. Well, I mean, not literally the same mask. They just made the same mask 7 times. But there are 7 members, and that's because multiple members play the same instrument. So despite lots of different material out there showing 3, 4, 5, 6 members, there are 7. So they just have to repeat the same instrument, and that's one of the reasons that people get hung up, because there's only 5 instruments. You can see more on the video I made here on the Modern Toys series. So check out episode 11. If you just search for Cantina, Star Wars, and Spector Creative, you'll find it. All right, so despite the debate about how many members there are and the fact that that's been solved by still images and the internet, the fact that Figrin Dan is being made for retail on a vintage card from a movie that is over 40 years old is really, really important. We've, as Star Wars collectors, spent a lot of time lately being upset that new content tends to be overshadowing what we grew up with. Now, this shouldn't be a shock, because this happens with every property. Anything, the new content is always the focus. But it's kind of been a, I don't know, just not quite right feeling that the new stuff is sort of supplementing the old, especially when we're so emotionally connected to the old stuff. It's great to have new, but we don't want to feel like the old stuff is now just getting the characters are getting old and just forcing themselves to death. That doesn't happen, right? All right, well, with so much content to pull from now and the fact that there's more Star Wars content than ever to pull from, you would think that, Hasbro could be all over the place. Well, with Star Wars, it's a brand where Lucasfilm is very involved in the character selection because they view the toys, the actual licensed product, as part of the content. But we have new hope. The new hope for Star Wars fans of the classic trilogy is Disney+. That's why we're getting Figrin Dan. Yes, it took a while to get those Mandalorian figures because the filmmakers didn't want to reveal anything before the show aired. That's why there's been such a lag. But the fact that we're getting original trilogy figures when there's so much content to mine from at this point is completely because of Disney+. So this is very new. Previously, Hasbro, Lucasfilm would sort of poll the fans to see what they were talking about, to see which ones, were the fan favorites. Who did fans love? Who did they want to speak about? Who did they want to watch? Well, now that we have Disney+, we know what the fans are watching. And while there's definitely been chatter about agendas and different ways Star Wars may be being pushed or pulled in different directions, that's not what this video is about. Really, it's the fact that Disney+, because it provides Disney, the owners, with exact information about what movies people are watching, how long they watch, what they watch, where they watch up to, what scenes they watch, well, this information can then be passed on to the licensed partners to make product based on what people are actually watching. So if you love the original trilogy and you want to see more original trilogy toys, the best thing you can do is keep watching it, because that tells Disney which movies are the most important to pull from. And maybe, just maybe, this will get us our final figure in the original Kenner collection, and we can close that off and look to a bright future of more Star Wars figures to collect that we've never had before. So use Disney+. It's a tool for all of us to help tell Hasbro and Disney what we love. I hope you enjoyed this video. It is insightful into how we can now communicate our interest in what Star Wars movies we want turned into toys. Share this video. It's the best way to support this channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the comment section.